Welcome back, future titans of industry and seasoned strategists, to another illuminating session of the Pocket MBA.
Great to be back.
Now, in today's dynamic business landscape, the word strategy, it gets thrown around an awful lot, doesn't it?
Oh, constantly. Yeah.
Yet its true meaning, well, it often remains elusive. We've all seen those meticulously crafted strategic plans, perhaps even, contributed to them ourselves.
Spent hours on them sometimes.
Hours, only for them to gather dust in a drawer, yielding little in the way of tangible results. Almost a rite of passage, isn't it? The grand offsite, the binders, the big pronouncements,
Yeah.
and then, well, crickets.
You've hit on a crucial point there, that feeling of frustration, right? Of strategic plans failing to translate into real action. It's incredibly common. In fact, popular management author Tom Peters, he famously offered $100 to the first manager who could prove a successful strategy actually came from a planning process.
Did you ever pay out?
Never had to pay out a dime. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it, what exactly is going wrong when so much effort yields, well, so little.
That's the million-dollar question we're tackling today. We're embarking on I think, crucial journey through the complexities of strategy. Our aim, to cut through the confusion and hopefully equip you with the clarity and actionable insights to craft and execute truly winning strategies.
Yeah, let's try.
We'll be drawing deeply from a rich stack of insightful sources, building on foundational works from strategic giants like Michael Porter, Andrew Campbell, and Marcus Alexander.
The big names.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Alongside fresh, modern perspectives from thinkers such as Konstantinos Marquis, Todd Zanger, Trudy Lang, and Richard Whittington. It's quite a lineup.
It is, and our mission today is pretty simple, really. We want to help you understand the fundamental flaws in how strategy is often approached, and then, crucially, give you the tools to rethink it entirely.
Okay.
We'll unpack the critical distinctions between, say, objectives, strategies, and just mere actions, explore why making tough choices is absolutely non-negotiable, and reveal how understanding your true purpose and cultivating genuine insights can be your firm ground in what often feels like, well, a strategic swamp.
A swamp indeed.
So get ready to challenge some deeply held assumptions about how strategy should work and discover how leading companies are truly succeeding.
Consider this your shortcut to a more profound understanding of strategy. No planning paralysis here, just clear direction and hopefully some practical takeaways. Let's get started.
All right. Let's begin by just acknowledging the widespread dissatisfaction with strategic planning. I mean, if you've ever felt that post-planning slump, where the energy of the offsite just dissipates into a mountain of paperwork that never quite gets implemented.
Absolutely. Guilty as charged, probably.
You're certainly not alone. It's those intense meetings, right? The buzz of activity, only to end up with a document that feels more like, I don't know, a budget with extra words rather than a genuine roadmap.
And that's a point worth emphasizing. Andrew Campbell and Marcus Alexander, who've delved deeply into this very phenomenon, they point out that for the past 2 decades, the strategic plan has become almost as common a management tool as the annual budget.
Yeah, it's standard practice.
Yet, incredibly, few executives are truly satisfied with the outcomes. These planning sessions, they often produce no new actions, and the plans themselves become bottom drawer fillers, met with groans rather than cheers of inspiration.
Right.
So, if planning is so prevalent, why is it so often ineffective? It's a paradox, wouldn't you say?
Well, one of the biggest culprits, according to Campbell and Alexander, lies in our fundamental misuse of objectives.
Great.
It sounds basic, but it's critical. We often fail to distinguish between an organization's purpose, what it truly exists to do, its unique reason for being.
But it's why.
Exactly, it's why. And its constraints, what it must do simply to survive and operate within the economic game.
Okay.
This confusion, they argue, results in directionless strategies, because if everything is an objective, then nothing truly is. You lose focus.
Precisely. And you see this. Managers are inundated with advice on vision statements, mission statements, strategic intent, shareholder value, customer focus, all these buzzwords.
Oh, the list goes on.
And yet, at the business unit level, the refrain is often a frustrated, why doesn't corporate tell us what it really wants us to do?
Yeah. Well, what's the actual goal here?
This tension between these broad financial goals and often ambiguous strategic goals, it just creates a muddled picture. It leads to frustration and, crucially, a lack of clear, actionable direction for the people on the ground.
And that leads to a common default, right? Many companies just resort to the mantra of shareholder value or these broad stakeholder statements, things like superior returns to shareholders, better value to customers, blah, blah, blah.
Sounds good on paper.
It sounds right, doesn't it? Responsible, comprehensive. But what's fascinating here is that these often do little more than just restate the universal rules of the economic game. They define the objective of all companies to develop and sustain competitive advantage. So if every single company says this, how can it possibly guide specific strategic choices for your organization? It's too generic.
This is where Campbell and Alexander deliver a real punch, I think, a crucial aha moment that often makes people rethink how they view their business entirely.
Yeah.
They argue that while satisfying stakeholders is absolutely essential for survival, it is not an objective that drives strategy, it's an economic constraint.
Okay, unpack that a bit. Constraint versus objective.
Well, think about it. Shareholders, customers, employees, suppliers, they're all, as Campbell and Alexander put it, infinitely greedy.
Okay.
They're constantly comparing your value stream against competitors. If you don't offer sufficient value, they redirect their loyalty and you go out of business. Simple as that.
Right, they vote with their feet or their wallets.
Exactly. So delivering stakeholder value is a requirement for long-term survival, a sort of hygiene factor, not your core purpose. It's what you must do to stay in the game, not what uniquely defines why you exist or how you'll compete in a differentiated way. And that subtle distinction, it changes everything about how you approach strategy.
That's a powerful reframe. It's not the goal, it's the price of admission.
Precisely.
Okay, so beyond the confusion over objectives, there's also the pervasive problem of process. You know, the traditional MOST framework mission, objectives, strategy, tactics. It suggests this neat sequential path.
Step 1, step 2.
Exactly. First mission, then objectives, then strategy, then tactics. It's tidy, logical, and it feels reassuringly linear. But as Campbell and Alexander wisely observed, the actual process of developing a winning strategy, it's far messier.
Oh, much messier.
More experimental, more iterative. It rarely, if ever, unfolds in such a clean step-by-step fashion.
Quite so. And this linearity, it often traps leaders in what our sources call planning paralysis.
Planning paralysis, I like that.
Because, which comes first? Objectives or strategy? If you set objectives without a viable strategy in mind, they're often deemed unrealistic, aren't they?
Yeah.
Just wishful thinking.
Yeah, just pie in the sky.
Conversely, if you formulate a strategy without understanding the tactical details and the operational realities, well, it might be entirely impractical. A beautiful dream on paper that simply can't be executed.
Right. Sounds great, but can we actually do it?
Exactly. So this interdependency creates a stalemate where senior managers demand objectives, junior managers ask for strategies, and everyone feels stuck, unable to move forward with real conviction. You end up in this endless loop, debating the starting point instead of actually moving.
Yeah, spinning your wheels. And maybe the most critical flaw, the one that truly undermines the whole endeavor, is this expectation that structured planning processes, those scheduled meetings, will magically lead to new, improved strategies.
It's a 2-day off-site miracle.
Right. But the basic ingredient of a good strategy, genuine insight into how to create unique value that rarely, if ever, emerges from a scheduled planning meeting. It's not something you can just put on the calendar and expect to appear at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday.
That's a powerful observation. Campbell and Alexander, they stress that these insights, they originate in many varied and often hard-to-control ways, often more about implementation and the daily grind of the business than about strategy development itself.
So closer to the action.
Exactly. It's the frontline understanding, the customer interaction, the production floor innovation. Managers who focus solely on structured planning processes, they often end up with what Campbell and Alexander call flat-footed plans.
Flat-footed plans. Okay.
Because the vital insights, those nuggets of genuine understanding about how value is truly created or could be created in a superior way, they're simply not present in that room. These plans might look good on paper, all the boxes tick, but they lack that spark, that genuine understanding of how to differentiate and win.
So, to overcome these foundational flaws, we need to shift our thinking entirely. The answer isn't just, new planning processes or fancier PowerPoint templates.
Definitely not.
It's a deeper understanding of two fundamental points. First, the immense benefit of having a well-articulated, stable purpose that truly guides your organization. And second, the absolute importance of discovering, understanding, documenting, and exploiting insights about how to create more value than your competitors.
Okay. purpose and insights.
Yeah, and we'll dive into both of these critical elements next, showing you how they really are the bedrock of effective strategy.
Right, so if competitive advantage and satisfying stakeholders are primarily economic constraints rather than your defining purpose, then what sort of objectives should companies define as their starting points for strategy? Where should this foundational guidance, this true north, actually come from? It's a fundamental question, I think, that reorients our entire strategic outlook.
Exactly, and the answer, as Campbell and Alexander highlight, lies in objectives that describe the essence of why the organization exists. If your sole stated purpose is simply make money for shareholders, well, that offers very little strategic guidance. It's a universal goal, right? Not a differentiating one.
Doesn't tell you how.
No. But if your purpose is, let's say, to make cosmetics that don't hurt animals, like the Body Shop famously did, that statement immediately limits strategic choices, but in a good way. It provides crystal clear direction. It tells you what kind of products to develop, how to source your ingredients, maybe even who to hire, and who your target audience is, and all while setting you apart from the competition.
It acts as a filter for decisions.
Precisely. Hashtag tech, hashtag tech 2.1. The power of focused purpose.
And it's counterintuitive, perhaps, but the more focused and detailed a purpose is, the more likely a company is to develop a winning strategy.
Yeah.
Paradoxically, allowing too many options for purpose actually makes strategy development significantly more difficult.
Yeah, because there's no clear filter for choices then.
Exactly. It's like trying to navigate without a compass. You have too many directions and no sense of a true north to guide your journey. This narrow definition, it actually provides immense creative power within those boundaries.
Think about Marks and Spencer, the iconic UK retailer. Their original purpose was incredibly precise: to provide affordable, everyday clothing of unrivaled quality to working people.
Very specific.
Very specific. That wasn't just a mission statement. It was a crystal clear market and product focus that guided their decisions for decades. Now, while their scope evolved over time, they added food, financial services.
M&S Food is huge now.
Huge. But the underlying theme of setting new standards of quality for mass market products remained a consistent focus. It was their guiding star, allowing them to expand while retaining a core identity and value proposition.
Or consider Volkswagen. Their very name literally translates to people's car.
Yeah.
Their 1920s purpose to create a robust German automobile for the average family wasn't just an aspiration. It set a clear engineering and market challenge that led directly to the Beetle becoming the most popular car in the world.
An icon.
An icon. Even underlying values play a significant role. The Body Shop's purpose, deeply entwined with avoiding harm to animals or the environment and promoting third-world trade, doesn't just sound good. It actively guides its strategies, its sourcing, its product development, and even dictates its cost structure in a way that truly differentiates them in the market.
Yeah, it's baked into their DNA. And even for large, diversified companies where purpose might seem harder to articulate across, disparate business units, think about Canon deliberate efforts to clarify and reassert enduring values through processes like their Premier Company Plan have been critical to producing winning strategies over time.
So it's an ongoing effort, even for the giants.
Absolutely. These exercises help re-anchor the entire organization when it risks losing its way in a complex, ever-expanding landscape. It provides a strategic foundation for everything they do.
Moving from a nebulous mission statement to a true purpose, though, it requires making definitive, often difficult choices.
Oh.
As Konstantinos Markidis, another astute observer of strategy, puts it, strategy isn't just aspirations or wishful thinking. It's a set of hard-to-reverse choices.
Hard to reverse. That's key.
It is. And communicating these choices, along with their underlying logic, is paramount for employees to truly understand and execute. It gives them the why behind the what.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's look at the DPG Media Group, a leading media company in Belgium and the Netherlands, for a powerful illustration. Facing intense digital disruption from giants like Google and Facebook back in the early 2000s.
A familiar story for media.
Oh, yeah. Their CEO, Christian Benthillo, realized that grand claims and vague aspirations just wouldn't cut it. He started with a foundational, almost existential choice. Is there a future for high-quality professional journalism?
It's a big question.
It's a huge question, a make-or-break question for their very existence. A bold move when many media companies were simply trying to survive by, cutting costs to the bone.
So what was their answer?
Their affirmative answer, a clear yes there is, led to a cascade of hard-to-reverse choices that reshaped the entire company. First, they doubled down. They focused and invested heavily in professional journalism, reinventing it for the digital age, rather than cautiously exiting the business as many competitors were contemplating.
Okay, bold move number one.
Right. Second, they realized that to compete effectively with global digital players, size matters. This necessitated a strategic objective to become the local multimedia undisputed leader in their chosen markets. That's a significant shift from their previous competitive mindset, moving from merely competing to actually dominating.
Right, from participant to leader.
Exactly. This then drove further choices that required immense discipline. They decided to focus on just two geographic markets, Belgium and the Netherlands, due to limited resources, rather than spreading themselves thin across Europe.
Smart. Focus.
And crucially, they engaged in an aggressive strategy of acquisitions, but specifically targeting subscription-based media companies, a new approach for them after traditionally growing organically. They also made the tough decision to focus on market-leading power brands and divest laggards, reinventing the remaining brands for digital.
So turning print newspapers into dynamic news media.
Yeah, and broadcast TV into streaming, traditional radio into multi-platform audio like podcasts, and building complementary online services like job and car platforms around those core media brands.
Crucially, every subsequent decision then, whether it was launching a new product or entering a new partnership, was measured against this clear mission
Yeah,
to become the local multimedia champion.
right. It became the filter.
Precisely. This illustrates that strategy truly is a singular, integrated set of choices revolving around why do we exist, what do we do, and how do we do it. The biggest mistake, as Michael Porter famously alluded to, is not making choices at all.
Yeah, trying to keep all options open.
Exactly. It's the absence of these deliberate, courageous decisions that leaves an organization adrift, trying to be everything to everyone, and ultimately, well, nothing special to anyone.
So when you have this clear purpose and these hard choices, it provides the backbone for everything that follows. It gives your employees a framework for their daily decisions, a reason to believe in the direction, and a clear understanding of where to focus their energy.
Absolutely.
But as powerful as purpose is, it's only truly realized when fueled by concrete understanding. And where do those truly revolutionary ideas actually come from? That brings us to the unsung hero of strategy. Genuine insights into value creation.
Right. If strategy isn't just about lofty goals or a rigid top-down plan, then where do the really good ideas, the ones that genuinely move the needle, actually come from? Campbell and Alexander tell us it's all about insights into value creation.
Insights into value creation.
Yeah. These are understandings about production, delivery, or perhaps stakeholder needs that reveal superior ways of doing things. These aren't abstract concepts. They're concrete, often simple, revelations about how to do things better, faster, or more uniquely than your competition.
Okay. And what's particularly fascinating and often overlooked is that these insights are frequently practical, right? They point to new methods or subtle advantages. And quite surprisingly, they often originate from line or operating managers.
Not the C-suite necessarily.
Not necessarily. These are the people on the front lines, the ones living the day-to-day realities, spotting the subtle opportunities or inefficiencies that those in the executive suites might just miss. They may not even be fully aware of the broader strategic significance of their observations at the time.
Interesting. Hashtag TED hashtag 3.1. Why implementation is strategy development.
And this leads us to two critical conclusions that kind of turn traditional strategic thinking on its head. First, separating strategy formulation from implementation. Generally a bad idea.
Why is that?
Because most of the crucial game-changing insights reside in the heads of those operating managers. Excluding them from strategy development means you're essentially excluding their invaluable perspectives and their intimate ground-level knowledge of how things actually work and where the real opportunities for improvement lie. You're cutting off a vital source of intelligence.
Right. You lose that connection to reality.
Exactly. Secondly, and this is a profound point, tactics aren't just about implementing today's strategy, they're about discovering tomorrow's strategy.
Oh, see more about that.
Insights for future success arise directly from today's operating experiences, from the problems solved, and the small innovations made on the fly. If implementation isn't seen as an integral part of strategy development, if it's just viewed as, execution,
Just getting it done.
then tomorrow's strategy will simply be short on those vital insights. It'll rely instead on guesswork, stale assumptions, or abstract market analyses detached from operational reality.
Can you give an example of that?
Yeah, consider the classic example of McDonald's versus Wimpy in the UK back in the day. Wimpy managers certainly noticed that McDonald's restaurants were consistently cleaner, which was and still is a critical success factor for fast food.
Absolutely. Table stakes.
Right. But they couldn't replicate it through process changes alone. Just telling staff to clean more often simply didn't work. The insight eventually gained was that McDonald's advantage lay in its staff's attitude, their willingness to use any downtime to clean, seeing it as part of their core job, not an extra chore or an imposition.
That's fascinating. So was that specific staff attitude a strategy or merely a tactic? The line really blurs there, doesn't it? How do you even begin to copy something so deeply ingrained in culture and operational behavior? It wasn't a policy, it was a mindset.
Exactly. It highlights how operational culture and seemingly small behavioral differences created a significant strategic advantage that was incredibly hard to copy. Wimpy could copy the cleaning checklist, but not the desire to clean, which fundamentally differentiated McDonald's customer experience. This demonstrates how a genuine insight born from observation of operations can become the cornerstone of a powerful, sustainable strategy.
So if insights are so crucial and they don't magically appear in a boardroom, how do we systematically develop and cultivate them?
Well, here's the kicker. Campbell and Alexander admit quite candidly, we don't know of a single foolproof method.
Really? That's surprising.
It is, but it makes sense. There's no one best way. If there were, competitors would immediately adopt it, and any advantage would instantly evaporate. This, incidentally, helps explain why management fads are so faddish. Companies scramble to gain a temporary edge, constantly looking for the next best practice tool that might offer a quick fix or the secret formula.
Right, the search for the silver bullet.
Exactly. Yet strategists generally fall into three broad camps in their pursuit of these elusive insights, each with its own approach and set of tools. Let's delve into them.
Okay, camp number one.
First, we have the operating camp. These are the strategists who champion processes like re-engineering, benchmarking, total quality management. They're intensely focused on the here and now, on improving current operations and finding better ways of doing things that are already being done.
Efficiency experts, essentially.
Pretty much. They excel at efficiency and incremental improvement. While these tools may not always lead to truly great or revolutionary strategies, they consistently produce solid, workable ones by solving concrete operating problems and refining existing processes. Think of Toyota's legendary development of the Kanban process.
Ah, the Toyota production system.
Right. It started as a practical solution to solve warehouse space issues, leading to enormous efficiencies and becoming a core strategic advantage. It was a bottom-up operational insight that became world-changing.
Okay, so that's the operating camp. What's next?
Then there's the future-gazing camp. These strategists are much more outwardly focused, using tools to try and peer into what might be. They concentrate on defining critical factors for future success, employing sophisticated techniques like Michael Porter's competitive strategy analysis, Shell's renowned scenario analysis, or Gary Hamel and C.K. Prahalad's foresight processes.
So, trying to predict the future.
Or at least map out plausible futures. Even chaos theorists weigh in here, suggesting we try to define success factors based on stable patterns within seemingly chaotic systems, attempting to find order and predict direction in perceived disorder. Their aim is to anticipate shifts and position the company for the world of tomorrow.
More crystal ball gazing, perhaps.
Perhaps, but with sophisticated tools. And third, we have the behavior and culture camp. Now, this camp actually comprises two distinct groups. The first are the data-free planning enthusiasts. They believe that a truly clear, compelling vision, deeply communicated, can harness the creative subconscious of an organization. Their idea is that by reducing what psychologists call cognitive dissonance, that uncomfortable internal tension when our beliefs clash with reality or with each other, you can align everyone to instinctively make things happen in line with the vision, sort of believe it and achieve it. Sounds a bit fuzzy.
It can be. The second group within this camp focuses heavily on organizational learning. They advocate for cultivating cultures that actively eliminate defensive routines, those ingrained habits that prevent us from seeing problems or admitting mistakes, and embrace systems thinking to foster a constant flow of new insights. Thinkers like Chris Argyris and Peter Senge are big here. They believe insight is born from an open, learning-oriented culture where it's safe to challenge assumptions.
Right, fostering psychological safety and curiosity. Exactly. So given these radically different approaches from rigorous operational improvement to sophisticated future forecasting to deep cultural shifts, It's no wonder managers often feel overwhelmed and confused about where to even start.
Absolutely. Which path do you choose?
Well, the key takeaway here for you, the listener, is that you must be actively seeking and cultivating insights from all corners of your organization, especially from the front lines, and fostering a culture where they can be openly shared and explored rather than just hoping a sterile planning meeting will magically produce them. Insights are found, discovered, and nurtured, not merely scheduled.
Let's get to the very heart of what strategy actually is. Michael Porter, in his foundational work, What is Strategy?, makes it crystal clear. Competitive strategy is, fundamentally, about being different.
Being different, not just better.
Exactly. It means deliberately choosing a different set of activities to deliver a unique mix of value. It's not about being the best at everything, it's about being distinct, carving out a unique and defensible position in the market.
Yeah. And Porter argues that what we often call hypercompetition, that relentless cutthroat race to be bigger, faster, cheaper, is often a self-inflicted wound.
How so?
It stems from a failure to distinguish between operational effectiveness and strategy. Operational effectiveness means performing similar activities better than rivals. It's essential, of course, for efficiency, but it's easily imitated over time.
Right, best practices spread.
Exactly. Strategy, however, means performing different activities or performing similar activities in fundamentally different ways. That, and only that, Porter argues, is where sustainable advantage truly lies.
Okay, so Porter identifies three distinct sources or bases for strategic positions which often overlap and can provide that crucial differentiation. What are they?
Okay, first, there's variety-based positioning. This is all about producing a subset of an industry's products or services. You're choosing to offer a very specific segment of what's available and tailoring your activities to that.
Like a specialist.
Exactly. Think Jiffy Lube, for example. They specialize solely in automotive lubricants, oil changes, and related services. By doing so, they can achieve faster, lower-cost service, optimized just for that specific variety of need. Or consider Vanguard in the investment world. They offer a specific array of common stock and bond funds, particularly index funds, focusing on predictable performance and rock-bottom expenses. They serve a broad range of customers, but only for a specific variety of investment needs, fundamentally different from a full-service brokerage offering complex advice and products.
Okay, variety-based, what's number two?
Secondly, we have needs-based positioning. This involves serving most or all the needs of a particular group of customers. You're focusing on a specific segment and tailoring your entire offering just to them. IKEA is the classic example, right?
Yes, the flat pack king.
They target young furniture buyers who want style at a low cost, and they provide a tailored set of activities specifically for this group. Self-service, modular furniture designed for easy transport and assembly, in-store childcare, even those famous Swedish meatballs. Every element supports their chosen customer group's needs.
It's a whole system designed for them.
It is. Or compare Bessemer Trust versus Citibank Private Banking. Both serve wealthy clients. But Bessemer targets families seeking to preserve capital across generations with a comprehensive relationship-based service, while Citibank might target entrepreneurs and executives needing sophisticated investment vehicles and deal access. Entirely different activity sets designed to serve distinct client needs within the same broad category.
Makes sense. And the third type?
Third, Porter discusses access-based positioning. This involves segmenting customers who are accessible in different ways, maybe because of their geography, their scale, or the channel through which you reach them. Carmike Cinemas, for instance, thrived for years by operating exclusively in smaller towns and rural areas.
Where the big chains wouldn't go.
Exactly. Their entire system, lean cost structure, centralized purchasing, lower overhead, highly personal, local marketing was tailored to the specific access challenges and opportunities of those markets. They weren't trying to compete in the urban megaplex world. They found their profitable niche by serving customers with unique access requirements based on location.
So what unites all these examples, regardless of the specific type of position, variety, needs, or access?
The crucial understanding is that true strategic positioning requires a tailored set of activities. It's a function of differences on the supply side, how you organize your operations, your processes, your resources, and your offerings in a unique way that aligns perfectly with your chosen position. Even if customer needs on the surface might appear somewhat similar, how you choose to serve them is fundamentally different. You're configuring your entire business engine to serve that distinct purpose. Hashtag 4.2. The non-negotiable reality of trade-offs.
But simply choosing a unique position isn't enough for long-term sustainability, is it? Competitors can just copy you.
Well, that brings us to another foundational concept, one that many companies find incredibly hard to embrace: trade-offs. A sustainable strategic position requires trade-offs. You cannot, truly cannot, be all things to all people without compromising your unique position.
That's the brutal truth of strategy, isn't it? Saying no to things.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
It means that activities are inherently incompatible sometimes. More of one thing often necessitates less of another. An airline, for example, can choose to serve hot meals and offer assigned seats, adding significant cost and slowing down gate turnarounds.
Right. The full service model.
Or it can choose not to, focusing instead on speed, low fares, and efficiency, like Southwest. But it cannot do both effectively without incurring major inefficiencies and creating a confusing, diluted customer experience. These deliberate trade-offs are what protect you from imitators, especially those straddlers who try to match your benefits while maintaining their existing position.
Those who try to have their cake and eat it too.
Exactly. And they usually end up with crumbs because the underlying activity systems just don't align.
Can you give an example of effective trade-offs?
Think about Neutrogena soap again. It's kind to the skin. Almost medical positioning wasn't accidental. It was built on a precise set of choices and, maybe more importantly, rejections.
What did they reject?
They actively built relationships by calling dermatologists, advertising in medical journals, distributing exclusively through drugstores initially, and using a slow, gentle manufacturing process. But critically, they explicitly said no to common soap features like adding deodorants and skin softeners. They said no to selling in supermarkets early on, and they said no to frequent price promotions. These deliberate choices, these trade-offs, created a formidable barrier to imitation and sustained its unique, premium identity for years.
So the no was as important as the yes.
Absolutely. Contrast that with Continental Light, a famous cautionary tale from the airline industry in the 90s. Continental attempted to straddle Southwest's highly successful low-cost short-haul model while simultaneously maintaining its full-service long-haul routes.
Trying to be both Southwest and, well, Continental.
Exactly. It failed spectacularly, losing hundreds of millions of dollars because it simply couldn't escape the inherent trade-offs. It cut commissions for all flights, alienating the travel agents who were crucial for its full-service business. It lowered frequent flyer benefits across the board, angering its high-value full-service customers. Trying to be all things to all people simply eroded its existing advantages and led to its ultimate demise, a classic case of strategic dilution caused by avoiding trade-offs.
So trade-offs aren't a sign of weakness then?
Not at all. They are, in fact, the essence of strategy. They make clear what your company will not do, providing invaluable discipline and focus. Without them, any good idea could be quickly imitated, your differentiators would disappear, and performance would once again depend solely on operational effectiveness, leading inevitably to that race to the bottom where no one truly wins, and profitability evaporates for everyone. Embracing trade-offs is about strategic courage and clarity.
Okay, so if strategy is about making unique choices and embracing those often difficult trade-offs, how do these individual decisions actually combine? How do they coalesce into something truly powerful and sustainable, something that's hard for competitors to copy?
Right. This is where the concept of fit comes in, and Porter describes it as absolutely foundational to sustainable competitive advantage. While operational effectiveness is about achieving excellence in individual activities, being good at lots of different things.
Doing things right.
Exactly. Strategy, underpinned by fit, is about combining activities so they relate to and actively reinforce one another. It's about how everything works together harmoniously, creating a complex system that's incredibly difficult for anyone else to replicate. Hashtag 5.1, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
So it's not just having good ingredients, it's the recipe and how they all interact.
Precisely. Consider Southwest Airlines again. Their legendary rapid gate turnaround isn't just one excellent activity. It's enabled by a whole system of deliberately chosen and mutually reinforcing activities. Think about it. Well-paid gate crews with flexible union roles. No meals served on board, no assigned seats, no interline baggage transfers between airlines, selecting less congested secondary airports, and maintaining a standardized fleet of only Boeing 737s.
Every piece fits.
Every single one of these activities supports and reinforces the others. The standardized fleet means faster maintenance and simpler crew training. No assigned seats means quicker boarding. Using less congested airports means fewer air traffic delays. It all clicks together into a high-velocity, low-cost machine.
So Porter stresses that a company's competitive advantage doesn't just come from one or two core competencies or a collection of isolated parts.
No, definitely not. It comes from this entire integrated system of activities. This interconnectedness makes imitation incredibly difficult because rivals aren't just trying to match one or two easily copied features, like maybe dropping the meal service.
They have to copy the whole system.
They have to match an entire array of interlocked activities, policies, cultures, and processes, all while making trade-offs against their existing strategy and system. It's like trying to perfectly copy a complex living organism rather than just grafting on one of its limbs. It's a Herculean task, and often impossible without starting from scratch. Hashtag tag 5.2. Three types of strategic fit.
Okay, so this fit is crucial. Does Porter break it down further? Are there different kinds of fit?
Yes, he identifies three types of fit, each building on the last, that create this powerful system-level advantage.
Right, what's the first?
First, we have first-order fit. This is basically about simple consistency between each activity and the overall strategy. This is the foundational level.
Everything pointing in the same direction.
Exactly. For Vanguard, for instance, every single activity aligns tightly with its low-cost strategy. They minimize portfolio turnover to reduce trading costs, use direct distribution to cut out intermediary fees, limit expensive advertising campaigns, and even tie employee bonuses directly to cost savings. This ensures that all advantages accumulate without eroding one another, creating a clear, unified message and consistent value proposition for their customers. There are no conflicting signals or wasted efforts. Everything pulls in the same low-cost direction.
Okay, simple consistency. What's next?
Moving up, we have second-order fit, where activities are actively reinforcing. They don't just align passively, they actually strengthen each other, creating synergy.
Okay, give me an example.
Think about Neutrogena again. Its medical marketing activities, reaching out to dermatologists and advertising in medical journals, were powerfully reinforced by its early distribution strategy through upscale hotels. Guests would experience the product firsthand in the hotel, perceive it as high quality and gentle, and then be more likely to seek it out later from dermatologists or pharmacies where the medical marketing had already laid the groundwork. The two activities amplified each other.
I see. One makes the other more effective.
Precisely. Similarly, Bic's success in disposable razors and pens isn't just about being cheap, it's the combination. Its large sales force ensuring wide distribution, prominent point-of-sale displays in convenience stores, heavy television advertising creating brand awareness, and eye-catching packaging changes all work together synergistically to stimulate impulse buying far more effectively than any single activity could achieve alone. The whole is truly greater than the sum of its parts.
Right, and the third level.
And at the highest level, we find third-order fit, which involves optimization of effort. This is about highly coordinated activities where information exchange and interconnected decisions eliminate redundancy and maximize efficiency across the entire value chain.
Complex.
It is, but very powerful. The Gap, particularly in its heyday, optimized product availability for its basic clothing lines by rapidly restocking stores from 3 centralized warehouses almost daily. This minimized the need for large, costly in-store inventories.
So less cash tied up in stock.
Exactly. And this rapid replenishment system also supported their short model cycle, allowing them to quickly respond to fashion trends without massive write-offs. It's all about coordination and information exchange across functions, logistics, merchandising, store operations to eliminate redundancy and maximize efficiency across activities, achieving a truly lean and responsive system. It's the strategic equivalent of a finely tuned orchestra, where every instrument plays its part in perfect harmony to create the overall effect.
So in all three types of fit, consistency, reinforcement, and optimization, the key is the system.
Yes, the whole matters significantly more than any individual part. This system-level advantage, created by strong fit, is far more sustainable than any single point of differentiation. It creates inherent pressures to continuously improve operational effectiveness within the system, and it makes the company a far less inviting target for imitators. Strategic positions built on these robust activity systems with strong fit should ideally have a horizon of a decade or more, not just a single planning cycle, fostering continuity, deep capabilities, and enduring competitive advantage.
Okay, so we have purpose, we have choices, we have trade-offs, we have fit. That sounds like a pretty robust way to build a strategy. But even with all that, the world moves incredibly fast, doesn't it? Markets shift, technology disrupts.
Absolutely. And Todd Zenger, an insightful contemporary strategist, makes a really interesting observation here. He says that a well-crafted strategy is like a roadmap to a place-specific market position that yields competitive advantage. But crucially, he points out, it doesn't necessarily take you anyplace else.
So it gets you there, but then what?
Exactly. For companies under constant pressure for new sources of value, for continuous growth, this can quickly become a problem. You can't just reach one destination, one profitable position, and then stop. The journey for value creation is ongoing in today's world.
That's a profound thought. Zenger describes a CEO who, after 2 decades of incredible growth, driven by a single brilliant strategy, found that his roadmap had simply run its course. The market had changed, new competitors emerged, and the old path just wasn't leading to new value anymore.
So, what was the solution? Just find a new strategy.
Well, Zenger argues the solution wasn't just to devise a new strategy, but to develop something much more powerful, more enduring. Corporate theory about strategy.
A corporate theory. What does that mean exactly?
It's essentially a mental model, a guiding philosophy for how the company can continuously create value and find new strategic advantages over time. It provides a framework for ongoing strategic decision-making and adaptation, rather than just defining a single destination or a single plan. It's the how we win repeatedly logic. Hashtag tag 6.1. The three components of a corporate theory.
Okay, that sounds useful. So what makes a good corporate theory, according to Zenger? What are its components?
A good corporate theory, he argues, has three interconnected components that allow a company to continuously adapt and create new value.
All right, number one.
First, foresight. This is a deep, almost intuitive understanding of the future evolution of their industry, and critically, how their industry intersects and interacts with others. It's about seeing around corners, anticipating where the puck is going, not just where it is now. This isn't just basic trend watching. It's about discerning fundamental shifts that will reshape the competitive landscape.
Okay, seeing the future. What's second?
Second, insight. This component is a keen awareness of what is truly distinctive and uniquely valuable in the company's existing assets and capabilities. What are its genuine superpowers? What can it do better than anyone else? This is the internal mirror, understanding not just what you have, but why it matters and how it creates value in a unique way. It's about deeply understanding and leveraging your enduring strengths.
So, know thyself, basically.
In a strategic sense, yes. And third, cross-sight. This is the ability to see how novel combinations of internal and external assets and opportunities can create entirely new value. It's the innovation engine, connecting disparate dots, forging unexpected partnerships, and applying existing capabilities to new problems or markets. This is where truly disruptive ideas often emerge by combining things in new ways.
Foresight, insight, cross-sight. Got it.
Zenger uses tech giants like Google, Apple, Facebook, now Meta, and Amazon as prime examples. Each has an entrenched market position, yes, but they are consistently guided by very different corporate theories that provide coherence to their otherwise disparate growth initiatives.
Yeah, they seem to be moving into everything.
Exactly. Google's theory, for instance, might be broadly about organizing the world's information and making it universally accessible and useful, which leads it logically into AI, autonomous vehicles, health tech, and so on. Apple's could be about creating seamless, elegant, integrated user experiences across hardware, software, and services, pushing it into wearables, financial services, augmented reality, maybe even cars.
Right. Different guiding logics.
A strong corporate theory suggests almost no limit to potential strategic collisions. As these companies continually seek new avenues for value creation based on their core logic, even if it brings them into direct competition in entirely new market spaces we wouldn't have predicted years ago.
Okay, so this corporate theory helps with continuous adaptation. Building on that idea, Trudy Lang and Richard Whittington argue that in today's hyper-connected and fast-paced world, leaders need to develop strategies that take into account not only the traditional long view, planning for the distant future, but also the broad view.
The broad view. What do they mean by that?
It means encompassing the full spectrum of emerging opportunities and threats across a much wider landscape, seeing the bigger picture beyond your immediate industry or competitors. It's about seeing around corners and seeing the whole ecosystem, not just looking straight down the road ahead.
Okay. And this broad view, it has practical implications for leaders.
Yes. They suggest 3 key implications that enable a more agile and robust strategic approach.
What's the first one?
First, you should think in terms of systems more than sectors. Instead of narrowly defining yourself within traditional industry sectors like automotive or media, think in terms of broader value-creating systems or ecosystems.
Okay. How does that help?
This sensitizes leaders to broad contextual changes happening outside their immediate sector and allows for co-creation of value with diverse actors who might not traditionally be considered competitors or partners. Think about the ABB Formula E World Championship electric car racing.
Right, relatively new.
It's not just a racing league. It's intentionally designed as a complex system. It involves racing teams, car manufacturers, battery tech companies, host cities needing sustainable transport solutions, broadcasters looking for new content, sponsors wanting green credentials, and the public interested in new tech. All designed for co-creating value, promoting electric vehicle technology, and building audience engagement within an entirely new sporting and technological ecosystem. It's a systemic approach, not just a sector approach.
Interesting. So systems, not sectors. What's the second implication?
Second, embrace scenarios more than forecasts. Instead of trying to predict the single future with a linear forecast, which is often a fool's errand in a volatile world,
Especially these days.
right, use scenarios instead. Typically, you develop maybe 2 to 4 distinct but plausible futures. This helps you engage constructively with potential disruptive changes, explore shifts in your own organizational identity, who would we need to be in that future, and track early warning signs in the business environment, applying lessons from these potential futures back to your present decisions.
Any examples?
BP's 2020 Energy Outlook is a great case study. By developing multiple energy transition scenarios, rapid transition, net zero, business as usual, BP was able to use these to help justify and communicate its strategic pivot, changing its identity from an international oil company to an integrated energy company. They were preparing for multiple possible energy transition pathways, not betting on just one fixed future. It builds flexibility and readiness for uncertainty.
Okay, makes sense. Systems, scenarios. What's the third one?
And third, adopt playbooks more than plans. In highly dynamic and uncertain contexts, rigid, detailed strategic plans simply aren't enough. They become obsolete too quickly. Instead, develop a playbook.
A playbook, like in sports.
Sort of. It's a broad repertoire of potential strategic initiatives, responses, and countermoves generated ahead of time, ready to be deployed rapidly to adapt as conditions change and opportunities or threats emerge. Paleon, an ARM spin-off operating in the highly uncertain Internet of Things, IoT market, exemplifies this. They use a playbook with predefined potential moves and early warning signals to guide their product roadmap and partnership development, allowing for rapid adaptation as the complex IoT market evolves unpredictably. It's about having a range of prepared moves and responses rather than one fixed, brittle script.
So this broad view, thinking in systems, using scenarios, developing playbooks, it provides agility and robustness in a world full of surprises.
Exactly. It shifts the mindset from rigid adherence to a single, static plan towards dynamic adaptation, guided by a deeper understanding of potential futures, interconnected systems, and your own core capabilities. It makes your strategy a living, breathing entity, constantly learning and adjusting, not a dusty document locked in a drawer. Hashtag TAG7, leadership, profitable growth, and strategic discipline.
Ultimately, though, the success, the longevity, the true impact of any strategy, no matter how well conceived with purpose and fit and foresight, it rests squarely on effective leadership, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Michael Porter emphasizes that leaders must do more than just, announce a strategy. They have to actively define and relentlessly communicate the company's unique position. They have to make those tough, often unpopular trade-offs, and they have to constantly work to forge and strengthen the fit among activities. It's a continuous, active, and deeply involved role, not a one-time declaration from on high.
And a critical part of that leadership role, as you mentioned earlier with trade-offs, is providing the discipline to say no.
Oh, hugely important. Managers are constantly tempted by the market, by investors, by internal pressures to take incremental steps that blur strategic positions in the often insatiable pursuit of growth. This is what's notoriously known as the growth trap.
The growth trap. Sounds dangerous.
It can be strategically fatal. It's a siren call, isn't it? The pressure for constant market share growth, for hitting those quarterly revenue numbers, even if it means compromising the very things that make you special and profitable in the first place. Hashtag tag 7.1. The growth trap and profitable expansion.
And this desire to grow, while natural and often necessary, can indeed have a perverse and destructive effect on strategy if not managed carefully. Consider Maytag. Once a name synonymous with reliable washers and dryers, a brand built on quality and durability.
The lonely repairman.
Exactly. In its pursuit of growth, it broadened its product lines, venturing into all sorts of diverse appliances, and acquired other brands that didn't necessarily align with its core strengths or positioning. The result? Over time, a significant decline in profitability and a fatal dilution of its once clear brand image.
Yeah, they lost their focus.
Similarly, Neutrogena, which we discussed earlier as having strong positioning and trade-offs, later compromised its kind-to-the-skin image by broadening distribution too far into mass merchandisers and expanding into non-unique product categories, diluting the very differentiation it had worked so hard and so successfully to build. Growth came at the cost of strategic clarity.
So Porter argues that truly profitable growth isn't usually about broadening your strategic position and compromising it. It more often comes from deepening it.
Deepening it, how does that work?
It means leveraging your existing, unique activity system, offering new features, services, or products that are complementary and that rivals would find impossible or prohibitively costly to match because their own activity systems aren't designed for it. You're building on your unique strengths.
Like Carmike Cinemas.
Exactly. They achieved rapid growth for a time, but through disciplined concentration on small markets. They even systematically sold off any big city theaters that came their way through acquisitions. They knew their niche, they understood how to win there with their specific system, and they stuck to it with unwavering discipline, deepening their advantage in those specific markets rather than chasing scale everywhere.
Globalization can also fit here, right, if leveraged strategically.
Yes, it can provide growth consistent with a focused strategy if it's about exporting your unique way of competing, reinforcing your unique position globally, rather than just chasing generic global scale. And if broadening must occur into truly different areas, Porter's recommendation is often to create standalone units, each with its own distinct brand and tailored activities, separate from the core business. This can contain the risks, ensuring that new ventures don't dilute the clarity and effectiveness of the core strategy.
So the core challenge for leaders, then, is to continually teach the organization about strategy, what it is,
Yeah.
what it isn't, and to provide that unwavering discipline.
Yes. They must make those difficult choices, set clear limits, and guide employees in their day-to-day decisions so that those decisions consistently align with the overall strategy, despite all the constant internal and external pressures to compromise for short-term gains or apparent opportunities that lie outside the strategy. It's an ongoing education process, a constant reinforcement of the strategic why.
And to tie it all together, we must consistently distinguish between operational effectiveness and strategy. That seems to be a recurring theme.
It's perhaps the most critical distinction. Operational effectiveness, or OE, is about continuous improvement, flexibility, benchmarking, adopting best practices. It's the agenda for constant change, always seeking to do similar things better, faster, and cheaper. And it's absolutely vital for survival, for staying competitive day to day.
But it's not strategy.
No. Strategy, in contrast, is the agenda for defining a truly unique position in the market, making clear, hard-to-reverse trade-offs, and tightening the fit among all your activities to create an inimitable, reinforcing system. It demands discipline and continuity, ensuring your core choices remain coherent and reinforcing over the long term.
So, while both operational effectiveness and strategy are absolutely essential,
You need both. But confusing them, or thinking OE as strategy, leads inevitably to competitive convergence, where everyone starts to look and act the same. It leads to zero-sum competition based purely on cost and efficiency, and ultimately to an erosion of profitability for everyone involved. The savvy leader understands when to push for operational gains and continuous improvement, and when to hold fast to the core strategic choices and trade-offs that define the company's unique advantage.
so there you have it. An in-depth exploration of what's often wrong with how we approach strategy, and more importantly, a robust framework for how to potentially fix it.
Yeah, we've learned that a strategy is definitely not just a plan you write once and then forget about. It's a living, breathing set of hard-to-reverse choices, deeply rooted in a clear, differentiating purpose.
Fueled by insights that often come from unexpected places, particularly every level of your organization.
Right, and protected by deliberate trade-offs that make you unique and defendable.
Indeed. It's about constructing that unique system of activities where the whole is far greater than the sum of its parts. Driven by continuous learning and adaptability, whether that's through systems thinking, using scenarios, or developing agile strategic playbooks.
And it requires that unwavering leadership, not just to make those difficult choices initially, but to stay the course, providing the discipline to say no, even when that seductive call of growth at all costs beckons us to compromise our unique position.
So for you, the aspiring or current business leader listening, this means moving beyond the often frustrating cycle of traditional strategic planning.
Yeah, maybe ditch the template for a bit.
It means fostering environments where genuine insights can bubble up from the front lines. courageously defining what your organization will not do, and clearly communicating the logic, the why, behind your choices to every single employee, empowering them to make daily decisions that actively reinforce your strategic advantage.
Well said.
So, as you reflect on your own organization and the path ahead, we leave you with this provocative thought. What is your company's deepest, most fundamental purpose, the true essence of why you exist beyond just making money? And perhaps more challenging still, what difficult, uncomfortable choices are you prepared to make, or crucially, perhaps stop making, to ensure that purpose truly guides your path and secures a sustainable, unique position in the market?
Good question to ponder.
Because in strategy, it seems, clarity and courage are your most powerful assets.
Until next time, keep thinking strategically, keep making those tough choices, and keep pushing your organization forward with that clarity and conviction.
You've been listening to The Pocket MBA. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of strategic excellence. We look forward to our next session together.